This is true, really news with Scot and Tony Verkinnes. All the news you're about to hear is true, as far as you know.
Dateline, Lincoln, Nebraska. Tellers at a bank say a man tried to open an obviously fraudulent checking account. And the question, of course, is, how would you know?
Right. They're just trying to open a checking.
Let me try it again. Boy, timing. Lincoln, Nebraska bank says a man tried to open an obviously fraudulent checking account. And the question, of course, is, timing is so important.
I'm so confused.
You have one line.
I'm just not sure what it is, sir.
How did they know?
Oh, okay. So go ahead. Do it again. I'm ready.
Kind of losing its punch now.
It'll still have plenty. You're a hell of a comedian.
Dateline, Lincoln, Nebraska. Tellers at a bank say a man tried to open an obviously fraudulent checking in October. The question, of course, being,
how did they know?
Die a painful death, Keanu. The reason it was obvious, he tried to open it with a fake $1 million bill. Can you see the problem?
Yeah.
According to the cops, the man appeared at the Pinnacle Bank shortly after the bank opened and presented a teller with a $1 million bill. After a short discussion, the man left the bank with a $1 million bill and without a checking account. For those of you wondering, by the way, the largest banknote ever printed was the $100,000 gold certificate, which featured Woodrow Wilson on its face. Do you suppose it was one of those weird evangelizing things they do with the little money things? Remember those were hot for a while?
Well,
you would hand these out as apparently they were evangelizing tools, and then you had to read very small all the way around the outside, and it had like Charles Spurgeon or somebody on the.
And you're supposed to read heavy theology
into a fake, because back then there were a couple of folks that tried to open accounts. One lady just tried to cash it. That didn't go over big either. You had one line.
In a related story.
How is it related? See, I'm right there for you.
It's a story. That's how it's related.
Oh.
Sweden's Runestone bears the longest runic inscription in existence, some 760 runes divided into 28 lines.
Is that the one the Laufenbergs had?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
In fact, it mentions the Laughing Pants several times.
Not letting that die soon.
And dates to around 800 AD. Stone's inscription has defied attempts to understand it since the mid-19th century.
Like a teenager.
Well, then they just turned it over and went, oh, yeah, of course.
There it is.
Now a team of researchers has developed a new interpretation that ties it to themes in Norse mythology and a devastating 6th century climate crisis. They believe the runes are from a public event, actually, that was recorded in stone.
The Ragnarok?
Almost. Well, no, this is called the Rock. R-O with umlauts K.
I don't know. Sounds a lot like End of Times in Norse god mythology.
But I
saw it on a Marvel film.
Well, that's likely true then.
Yeah.
They believe the runes are from a public event that was recorded in stone, almost like they were dictating it to the guy, who had to be very fast. There are several passages that talk about a battle, the kings involved, other notable warriors and their sons. But the reason they believe this is the record of a live event is because about 2/3 of the way through the text, they found the following sentence. There is a green Honda Civic in the parking lot with its lights on.
Pretty proud of yourself, aren't you?
I'm happy.
Yeah. Government of Quebec, they're never happy with anything. Recently denied the residency application of a French national because, officials claimed.
How do you know?
I'm going to come over there with a baby seal and club you into senselessness. Which, again, how would we know?
I was going to say, you're better off trying to club me senseful.
Where are we at? Quebec, French national, no citizenship because officials say she had not demonstrated proficiency in the French language. Did they see the part about her being a French? Earlier, Quebec's immigration ministry turned away. Would it be Emily? It's got all the umlauts and things all over it.
French doesn't have any umlauts, you goon.
Well, it's got something. Oh, that's on my screen. Sorry. Turned away Emily Dubois because part of her PhD thesis was written in English. The 31-year-old completed her degree at Laval University in Quebec City, but wrote one chapter of her thesis in English because she submitted it to an English language academic journal. She did happen to mention, by the way, that I have a diploma from a Francophone university, the first in Canada. I'm a French citizen, and I did all of my studies in French. Now, Ms. Dubois, who had been living in Quebec for 8 years at this point, told Radio Canada that thankfully, after reviewing her case, Quebec authorities reversed their decision and said she was German. See, when it comes to saying stupid stuff in the middle of a story, I can go right there with you.
The Delta Police Department in British Columbia.
And there was a red Honda that was...
It was green, dink.
Well, it's Canada.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Set an office. Okay, so we're still in Canada.
Of course we are.
Delta Police Department in British Columbia.
They made us citizens.
Said an officer on foot in Ladner was stopped by a passing driver. Driver was quite distraught, saying she'd seen a severed foot by the roadside next to the pump house.
I strongly dislike, because you can't say hate. I strongly dislike you and your entire family, your neighborhood, and anyone who ever met you. That includes me.
Upon arrival at the location, the officer did, in fact, find a lone foot. In this case, it was an actual foot.
No potato and mushroom deal here.
No. This was, well, it's odd to find a single foot because feet generally travel in pairs. Thankfully, the severed foot was not human.
Okay.
On their Facebook page, the department requested that if you happen upon a mannequin with a missing left foot, let them know it can be found at the Delta Police Department.
First a potato and a mushroom, now this. Hard to be ghoulish anymore.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.